This is Frankie Abbruzzino with the Uncensored Report, and I want to talk a little bit about 5G. If you don't know me, back when I got out of the Navy and stuff, I spent some time with GT Wireless, about 8 years. I was their top sales guy in Florida for like 5 years, had the gold ring and the diamonds, and I ended up going to management and stuff. But one thing they used to say is there's no problem with cellular radiation. We all heard it before. And contrary to the many studies that are coming out now saying there's concerns, there's issues, not only with cellular, but Wi-Fi and everything else. I noticed it because when I was working at GT, I was always on the phone, and I would get a headache here major if I was on the phone for a long time. That happened to be the area I was always talking on, so I tried to go wireless. And now you won't see me. I rarely have the phone to my ear. And so then this goes up with an article I was reading today about 5G and how the FCC is pushing out there. They're pushing to streamline that whole approval to get these 5G cell towers put up throughout the place. And they're doing it without regard to safety. They're overriding there's not a lot of regulation because that industry and the wireless industry, AT&T's, Verizon's have great lobbyists. They're very wealthy and they're getting their bidding done for them. And so there hasn't been a lot of regulations, but the little regulations there are out there aren't being pushed. And what they're trying to do is they're legalizing basically this experiment where you take these high frequency 5G and you're testing it out on our safety without even testing them to ensure that it's done. You're just putting it out there and you're saying, you know what, we'll just see if it's safe once it's out there, and which is what happened back in the 80s when they first started putting all this wireless out there. And they're going to use these frequencies in the range of 28 gigahertz up to 100 gigahertz. And this is going to be deployed everywhere without consent. You don't know how it's going to impact your safety. And some are talking about even using higher frequencies. They're calling them terahertz. And again, without testing them for their safety. And this is exactly what we saw when I originally was in the industry. And this 5G, it's being presented, as the next stage, as fast as your internet, the evolution in communication and the technology. And they're putting out all these fabulous headlines out there so that the people are like in awe. Oh, great, we're going to have this awesome internet because I'm on my phone. I can tell you through my demographics with my website, about 70% of the traffic, it seems like people are using their phone to read my pages, to go on my website. And it's concerning. You have people out there that are suffering from EMF radiation, from Wi-Fi's. I put out the article, smartphones, smart meters, newer vehicles with all the gadgets and technology spewing out all that radiation and frequency waves out there. The dangers of new technology are being ignored because these companies have the lobbyists out there that are pushing and doing their bidding. It's much like the biotech and the toxic foods that are out there. They're ignoring the reality of what a lot of this can do to you, what these disruptive frequencies can do to us. And that's the attitude of these technology innovators out there. They're pushing for this American exceptionalism. They want this 5G deployed out there as soon as possible without any testing, without seeing what the effects are on humans. And we're allowing it to happen. We're saying, okay. We don't know the impacts it'll have on our natural environment. Just like a bunch of cancer around these high intensity electrical grids. I know in Dearborn where we had right there, it seemed like people always have certain kind of diseases or something. The ill effects of this stuff. And the FCC is just like these other bureaucracies, the FDA, the EPA, and all of them, all these regulatory bodies. They're in bed with the corporations. The very same corporations that they claim to regulate, and it's not being regulated. Companies like IBM, Verizon, AT&T, they wield greater power in government than the average person. They have the say. They make the rules, and we abide to them. And we're already being steered in the wrong direction. We are being forced into this future of smart devices, the smart meter that can sit there. It's like the pacemaker. This guy was recently arrested because he said the house was on fire. I had to rush in, grab all my stuff. So they went out and grabbed his pacemaker data. and saw where his heart rate was. And someone testified, said there's no way he was able to do that based upon these heart rate beats and the rhythm in there. Smart technology. I was home and I was watching TV. They can go into your smart meter now and see where the electrical pulses were. And were you home? Were the lights on? Where's the TV blasting? I know, if you're not doing anything wrong, what's the big deal, right? Yeah, okay. And it's going to get much worse here. And I'm not just talking in terms of privacy and everything else. I'm talking in terms of radiation, illnesses, brain cancer, EMF hypersensitivity. How much worse will it get? We all know, if you've done your research, you know the ill effects of cellular radiation. Imagine 5G, multiple times worse. What say you? This has been Francesco Abruzzino with the Uncensored Report.